All right, you ready?
Yes.
Ready.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Today's, I don't know, the middle of September.
Today's the middle of September, that's true.
And
Yep.
we have a special guest. Our guest is Councilmember Karen Filito, but she's here today as the president of the Friends of the Mission Trail Nature Preserve. So we're going to try not to talk too much, and we really want, I can't help but call you council member, I'm sorry, or president, to talk about the preserve and the Friends and what's going on in the new website and everything up there. So real briefly, I wanted to thank everyone who came. We had a great council meeting on Tuesday, a lot of good, healthy public input, and that's part of the participatory process, so thank you, everyone. Just a reminder that we have not yet set the October agenda, so the Mayor Pro Tem and I are still working on that, and the staff is furiously working on agenda reports. So that's not in final draft by any stretch of the imagination at this point in time. And then tomorrow is the great sandcastle contest. I don't know which number it is, but hopefully.
Been going for a while, though.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So
Are you going to go?
Back to the Future.
Well, I hope to go, yes. I hope to get down there. I was supposed to be at a soccer game tomorrow for my grandson, but I'm going to try to get down there before they jump on him and smash them all.
I had something else. What was it? I don't remember. Oh, well, that's what I got. What do you got, buddy?
Just a quick recap. As you mentioned, we had a great city council meeting this week. A few notable land use items. The wireless ordinance, the city council had their first reading and effectively said yes to the planning commission version of the draft wireless ordinance. So that'll come back. That's the one thing we know for sure, at least mostly for sure, in October, is we're going to come back in October for the second reading, which will likely just be on consent. We also had the item to talk about future potential use of the Pine Inn parking lot, which would require some sort of potential zoning change. It wasn't a decision, it was just a green light to continue with the concept, so that was really productive. And then we had the right to review of the JB Pastor project down there on the corner of 7th and Dolores, where the decision was to keep the wall in place and ask the developer to think about a design that would keep that wall in place. So it was really productive. It was a lot of great conversations.
And if you don't want to watch the 4-hour meeting, Mary did a great job.
Always does a good job of, and she sits through every minute of those meetings. So kudos to her. You know, we get paid to be there, and she likes to watch them, I think.
I guess she gets paid to be there.
I guess she gets paid to report on them. Yeah, that's true. I shouldn't say it that way.
I would hope so.
I would hope so too.
She should get paid more, I think.
Just one notable thing from Planning Commission. I'm sure she would appreciate you saying that. One notable thing from Planning Commission is we had our first restaurant that came through with a use permit amendment to keep those additional outdoor seats on private property that were stood up during the pandemic. And so the Planning Commission did approve some additional seats, not as many as they currently have, but they did approve some additional outdoor seats. So we expect to see more of those coming through. But I feel like the Planning Commission did a really good job of considering public access, visual impacts, noise. And so I think they struck a real balance at the meeting.
And that was based on council direction that applicants and restaurants should go through the use permit amendment process with the Planning Commission. So thank you for following council's direction, public.
Yeah, and that's all I have. I want to hear from Madam President.
Yeah, welcome again. Thank you for joining us. We're very grateful.
Well, I'm delighted to be here in my role with the board of the Friends of Mission Trail Nature Preserve. For those of you who maybe haven't visited it, it's a 34-acre park encompassing 3 miles of hiking trails and a native plant garden. The habitats include Monterey pine forest, coast live oak woodland, wetland, a willow riparian corridor, and a coastal prairie. So it's really quite a magical place. In fact, you might think of it as Carmel's Central Park. It was designed as a nature park in 1979 for passive recreational use, including dog walking. The boundaries include the Flanders Mansion, the Lester Roundtree Native Plant Garden, and the meadow off Martin Road. The city has a very active management plan to remove invasive plants, restore wetlands, and improve the trail system. And in about 2009, Skip Lloyd, who lived on Hatton Road, decided that a volunteer group would be very helpful in keeping the preserve free of, as you know, invasive plants, and to work on fire fuel abatement, which is so important, especially today. And so he formed a group called Friends of Mission Trail Nature Preserve. And we have a board that meets every 2 months now. We raise funds, and very importantly, one Saturday a month, the second Saturday of the month, we have a volunteer, we call it our Weedy Day.
The Wheaties.
The Wheaties.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we would love to have more Wheaties come along because we have a lot to do. What we do on those Weedy Days is work in various parts of the park. We were part and parcel to planning the improvements at Mountain View entrance. One of our members at the time, Gary Gerard, a landscape architect, did a lot of preliminary drawings, and then the city followed through with I guess you call those build drawings, and
Construction drawings.
did the project, and it was a vast, vast improvement over there. And one of our former board members, Vicki Koo, waters all the plants. The water's put in that big green tank by the city, and she waters all the plants over there. There's a bench dedicated to Barbara Livingston and Bob Cohn at that entrance. The great thing about Mission Trail Nature Preserve is there are so many entrances. You can get to it off of Hatton Road, down a pretty steep county-owned easement, but you can also access it through the driveway for Flanders. You can access it at the end of Martin Road at 11th Street. There is also an entrance, and there are 2 main trails, Willow Trail and Sarah Trail, which are chipped, so even bicycles are allowed to ride on the chip trails. Bicycles are not supposed to be on any of the other trails because of the erosion and also the danger to walkers.
And there are signs out there, so just obey the signs and you'll be okay.
They're very narrow and steep trails, and they're actually, I mean, if you fell off one of them, they're pretty steep.
One of the great things, we have this wonderful public-private partnership, we call it, with the city. We have, we make great big piles of fire fuel, and we report it, and then the city comes along and picks it up and disposes of it. We do trail maintenance and trail restoration. We've had great support from the Carmel Rotary, both in providing volunteers there. We've had kids from the high school working with the Rotary, and in the past we even had senior service days up there recreating some of the trails that take a beating during wet weather, and we have installed the majority of the split rail fencing, the map boards, the message boards, the bicycle racks, and some of the boardwalks. We've received grants from the Carmel Rotary, so that one boardwalk that's up on Doolittle Trail that was put in a few years ago to go over Boggy Spot. Now, unfortunately, we do have another wet spot. It seems to be a natural spring. Cal-Am has checked it out. It's not Cal-Am water. It's not Cod water. It's not water
It's free water. Let's go get it. Bottle it.
Above, but we do have a boggy spot, which we are doing some talking about how we're going to troubleshoot that and make it so that people aren't throwing things down or walking through a mud pit.
Yeah, you had that great example when you were at Sea Ranch, I think, about boards with chicken wire so that the boards don't get too slippery. So again, we're still working on that, Councilman.
Yeah, we have a couple of those board planks that ford small depressions already in the preserve from many, many years ago. In fact, Greg D'Ambrosio, our project manager, who was our former forester at one time and former city manager, he's the best unpaid volunteer employee we could possibly have up there. And he said he actually installed one of those. He hauled all the material from his car and dragged it down the hill and put it in, and it's been there for years. It's very safe, and so we're looking for a fix on Doolittle Trail. In the future, once the tank is removed, that old tank down there and the old electric hookup and the pump station, we hope to, in the future, be able to raise the money and work with the city to install a small bridge which will make it safer so that you don't exit off that concrete swale.
Yeah.
Lots of drainage projects that the city is going to do in the future. There's a grant for some down by Rio Road, which we hope will get the permits soon. But we're really excited, and we'll be at Community Day. We'll be passing out a brochure like this, which showcases some of the animals and plants that are in the preserve, and also explains how Greg D'Ambrosio created a plot system so that we have an organized way of going in there and working in various places to remove invasives and so on. We also just launched our friendsofmissiontrail.org website, and you can go and see it, and on that website you can click and volunteer, you can click and make a donation.
We'll link that today in the Friday letter for you, so that's
yes,
in there.
that would be great, because we're actually moving into the next century with our outreach, because we know how many people really enjoy the preserve. It's a fabulous place to walk your dog. You get away from it all, and it's a real alternative in the winter when we sometimes lose our beach, to be able to have that wonderful area. It really got a resurgence of interest during the COVID pandemic, when people could safely hike and be distanced from other people.
And there's nothing too aggressive out there from a hike perspective. It's a great place to go and just walk around, and I've always thought it's a real testament to what our volunteers do around here. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Mission Trails Nature Preserve. When I first started here 3 years ago, my wife and I came, we volunteered with the Wheaties. We've done it a couple times since. I know Chip and his family have done it. It's if that's all you do is go volunteer with the Wheaties, it's a fun way to get out there and meet some of your community members and get your hands a little dirty, which is healthy. You know, touch the dirt every now and then. I think that's really good.
Well, I think,
and Councilmember and I are meeting with Councilmember Coletti from Pacific Grove this afternoon in the preserve, and they maybe he's trying to stand up a similar program for George Washington Park, which is near where
that's
we
great,
live, Pacific Grove. So we'll see what he has to say. But I agree with you, Councilmember. It's a great public-private partnership, and it's again, could we do more out there? We can do more everywhere, but it's really been a collaborative, healthy relationship, and it's a wonderful asset to the city.
well, I just watched a documentary on Blue Zones, How to Live to Be 100 or over. And one of the components of the people who live on those 5 or 6 islands that enjoy this is community involvement, functional exercise, like when you weed and trim and all that stuff, and you know, just community around you, friendship, laughing. And we do a lot of work in a few hours on those Saturday mornings, and by signing up on our website, you'll be able to get an email the week before those volunteer days telling you where to meet.
Great.
Because it's a big park, we do different things in different parts, and it's sometimes hard to get the word out beyond our already our mailing list that we have. But I also want to give you a little sneak preview of another thing that Friends are coordinating on, and that's this thought about the Carmel area Bridge to Everywhere project that could take place in the future with our Carmel area wastewater district. And this could be a very exciting project where you could actually walk all around Scenic Avenue and come to the Rio Park area that way, or you could come through Mission Trail, cross at the crosswalk by the ball fields, and enter that future park from that area. And then COD is suggesting that we might be able to, at some time in the future, open the small emergency bridge there, enlarge it and open it so that the public could then walk across the Carmel River and access some of the area that goes from the COD buildings to Highway 1, and eventually perhaps even access Palo Corona from there. So it's a wonderful future dream project that we hope will get some legs soon. And,
the council's not reviewed it formally, but certainly from the staff perspective, we're very philosophically supportive. We've told that to COD. A lot of this is being spearheaded by former Congressman Sam Farr, and it's one of his passion projects. So yeah, we're looking forward to being partners in that one as well.
another project we'd like to do is a restoration of the Lester Roundtree Native Plant Garden.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to be done up there, but we have a survey, we have a concept drawing. We need a little more money and so on in order to move it beyond a concept drawing and get in there and really make it a demonstration garden, a quiet place to go, make some improvements, and grow some native plants. We've got a few dead trees, and just this week the forester...
I was going to tell you, I know you've been beating on me about that. So Bob has scheduled to have the dead trees in the Lester Roundtree Native Plant Garden removed. So thank goodness. There's a backlog.
And
we always talk about the backlog of
Yep.
dying, diseased trees in the village, and we're pecking away at those.
Yeah,
Ironically
we
enough,
that.
we removed some dead trees, and then we got some people concerned that we were removing dead trees. So we're trying to balance that this week.
Well, yes, and you know, native plants like a little more sunshine that comes in up
Yeah.
there. We're not removing trees for that, but we have an opportunity, just like this year with all the rain we got. We had Yaden's piperia popping up all over in both the garden and across the driveway from there, so it was exciting. Along with that good thing that popped up, we had a lot of Janista come back, and we had done such a good job of getting most of it out, but some of you may not know.
That's
but
why we need more volunteers. And so
Yes.
we appreciate you coming and telling us all about these wonderful
All
volunteer
right,
opportunities.
so
And
sign up,
Yeah, please.
friendsofmissiontrail.org. Come to the preserve, take a look. I think you'll enjoy it.
And yeah, so the friends are listed on our volunteer website. So again, we'll again add the link to the new website in today's Friday letter, and I'll work to see if we can't get that link permanently placed in the volunteer page. And we're grateful. We're grateful
Yeah,
that you joined
absolutely.
us. We love your passion, not just for city counseling, but for this project
Yeah.
and all the projects. So thank you for joining us. We'll have you back.
you know
One
how,
last
you know how we
word,
sign off?
We're out of words.
Oh.
There's no more words. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One last word. I just can't thank Skip Lloyd enough for starting our volunteer group. And as you know, Skip passed away this year, and we miss him terribly. Marianne, his wife, has stayed involved, and she is the one who has been championing Lester Roundtree. So we're so thankful for all our volunteers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am, for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hope you have a good weekend. See you at the Sandcastle tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, we sign off on these, right?
Take good care.
That's right.
That's right. Take good care.